your horror movie podcast.
This won't make the podcast, but this is a great content clip.
No, I'm so upset. Like, I literally thought resting it on the ceiling would be better. You're right. All I had to do, and here I am trying to show you why it made sense, and no, it didn't make sense. Oh, no.
Makes perfect sense.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was so
all right,
dumb.
Hackstab Slash. This week, now that we're all settled in and everyone's done their due diligence by doing household chores before we finish this podcast, we are doing a brand new movie that we have been hyped up to do, and that is Late Night with the Devil. This is Justin's pick, and I'm going to speak for us all when we say we have not seen this, and we all went into this blind. So to start, I'm going to give you my expectation rating because I'm kicking it off first, and I'm already in that mode. I'm ready to go. My expectation was a 7, and the only reason why it was a 7 was purely because of hype. We've discussed this before. I'm not a big fan of demonic possession movies, and I was actually expecting this to be a very fucking boring film. When I was looking even for a background thing, and it said that IMDb had it at a 7.1, and this is still almost 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a 97%, and it's a 4.2 out of 5 on Shudder. I was like, this is a very hyped up movie. I was waiting to be let down, and we'll see how it goes from there. Justin, now that you're done screwing into lights and grabbing bases and tips and ceilings and
I'm not even gonna explain myself. That's just I'm moving on from that. I expected this. I expected this movie to be an 8, super hyped up. I read about the concept. The concept seemed wicked cool, so I'm expecting an 8, and we'll have to get to see what I say.
Hell yeah! And I was actually going to this. I did watch the trailer. I'm not a huge, demonic possession guy as well. I actually gave this a solid 5. Right in the middle because
right in the middle, like always.
Right in the middle. I got to go into this in the middle. And,
I will say the only thing I was really hyped up for going into this was I love modern movies that are set in the 70s.
See, that is one
like
of the
things.
Like
the 70s and the 80s. I love it.
That drew me in, like within the trailer that I watched, seeing how it like made it just look so old and like that's awesome.
What about late night shows? You guys don't love Conan O'Brien? You guys didn't love Conan's show?
That's in my notes.
Is it? You love Conan O'Brien?
I love Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, me too.
I was actually so hyped up when he came back.
Oh yeah, I don't even have words to describe how much I love.
He's pretty
Conan.
Funny.
And just as a person, I think he's great. But I was so excited to see a late night show and a horror movie. Oh man, this is
all right.
What a premise.
I'm gonna say this right now.
Okay.
Conan O'Brien, he's fucking hilarious.
I guess we should change from the late night show discussions to
the late night show.
Late night with the devil. All right, guys, you ready?
Do this.
America, the 1970s, a time of unrest and mistrust, a time of fear and violence. Television documents the chaos, beams the horror into your living rooms, but it also offers comfort. April 4th, 1971, the first episode of UBC's Night Owls goes to air. The network's hopes for a late night hit are riding on the shoulders of the host, a popular Chicago radio announcer. Guys, the opening of this movie is so well played. It's got news clips, documentary footage. It's amazing. The song in the background, everything. We see fires, we see destruction. This gives me a very, very nostalgic feel. I think nostalgic's the right word because 2004 is 20 fucking years ago. But this reminds me of the Dawn of the Dead reboot when they show the news clips. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
and also like how he was narrating the stuff that goes on in this, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre beginning type thing.
Oh yeah.
And then to work in the actual audio from the footage of working with his narration was very well done. This has everything going on around the satanic panic. It's got Charlie Manson and those girls. It's showing stuff that they made. It even shows a clip of David Berkowitz going in the courthouse. You guys want a fun fact real quick?
Mm-hmm.
David Berkowitz, at the time of his capture, who is also known as the Son of Sam Killer or the 44 Cal Killer, was actually a letter sorter for the U.S. Post Office. I'm looking at you, Justin.
Wow, Justin, is there?
I do sort letters. But no, No, I'm a very friendly person. I'm not a fan of serial killing.
I don't know. I've
Do
seen
not
you
kill each
go.
other.
I've seen you get pretty mad.
Yeah, I've seen
Somebody
I've
talks
seen
about
you-
Nirvana.
All right. Don't look. Let's not. Hold on. I'm stuttering now. But yeah.
All right. So if you could have the greater than and less than sign, and you put Kurt Cobain on one side and John Bon Jovi on the other, it would definitely go like that way, right?
Dude, why are you even comparing the two? It's not even. Don't even get
Sean,
don't bring the demon
it's his
out.
Life, all right.
Don't bring the demons out.
Stop. No more Bon Jovi references, and never reference him in the same name as Kurt.
Now or never,
please.
Justin.
Thank you. Please stop.
All right. So this whole opening montage takes about
living on a prayer
10 to 12 minutes, and it is so well done. It eventually evolves from like that news capture thing into the quick start and rise to fame for Jack Delroy, who's the host. The current late night host of Night Owls is what the TV show is called. He's been in a constant uphill battle in ratings with the king of late night TV, Johnny Carson. In his first episode, he actually makes a joke that his parents are sitting at home, wide-eyed and smiles on their face, watching Johnny Carson instead of his premiere episode. We also get glimpses into his private life with his wife, Madeline, who ultimately lost her battle with lung cancer, although she was never a smoker in her entire life. She even she comes on the show to give a farewell talk, and you can just see the hurt in both her and his eyes. And you almost feel for the guy, because the narrator makes sure you know that he still fell short of just a regular Johnny Carson episode. So this guy is just constantly, it just leads to a downward spiral, which is not good for him. He actually left the show and just took off out of New York without telling anyone. And they suspect he left to attend the Grove, an elite California camp for the rich and powerful men. There's a lot of like weird shit that goes on in there. We see when they do talk about it, there's like the owl that's dressed in all white, and there's like people praying to him, and there's chants in the woods and like some crazy ass shit. Jack ultimately, though, he returns, and in order to boost his show's ratings, he decides to do a special, an occult theme special, and it takes place on Halloween with a special guest, Christo, a skeptic and a former magician, Carmichael Haig, a friend and an author, June Ross Mitchell, and her latest subject, her name is Lily. This Lily girl is from a cult. We see a guy dressed in red in the very beginning of the movie, and he's giving a speech about the cult and all this other shit. It goes more into depth than I'm willing to talk about. But after a 10-day standoff, this guy convinces all his members and himself to douse themselves in gasoline and burn this fucking place to the ground. And she is the only survivor in this house, virtually unscathed, which is unimaginable. Like, how do you get out of that with nothing?
A little sus.
No burn marks, no nothing. The talk show begins now, and it's very believable. And just like we just talked about, Justin, in my notes, personally, I felt like I was watching a Halloween special with Johnny Carson. Wow. With Conan O'Brien.
Johnny Carson.
Yeah. I felt like I was watching a show with fucking Conan O'Brien, because he even does that like Reggie Jackson thing where he swings the bat and it makes the sound, and he does like the boom.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like I didn't have time. Actually, I did have time. I'll be honest, I did have time, but I didn't.
Slacker.
I wanted to look more into fun facts to see if he studied Conan O'Brien for this role, because it would make sense, because he gives off a lot of vibes like Conan does. But Jack now, he brings out his first guest, a medium who can communicate with the dead. And now introducing Crisco, the Cisco, the fucking Bisco. I don't know. I'm full of
Crisco
words.
Nabisco.
He comes off as very phony with politics to start everything with his demonstrations. He calls out and he does like this weird, like hands on the temple. He's like, I see a P. I see a P, Peter or Peterson. And the first person that makes a noise, he latches onto, which is like a common politrick. And this guy is like, Peterson, that was my wife's maiden name. And he's like, did she recently pass on? And he's like, no, dude, she fucking left me for like a golf instructor or something.
Yeah, not a good start for him. Not a good start.
And this guy has jokes out the wazoo, and Christo is he's feeling the heat. And in his haste, he starts to He decides to restart, and he has an instant connection with a grieving mother and daughter, right down to him commenting on he didn't just pass away, he committed suicide, and he left no note. And then some freaky shit starts to happen after this encounter. Crystal looks like he's going to have an absolute aneurysm. His eyes start rolling into the back of his head. We see lights flicker, electricity goes crazy, and he starts calling out Mimi. And he is begging for anyone in the audience to receive that message. He needs someone to connect to make this stop. And Jack just starts going, is there anyone out there? Minnie, Mimi, Molly, anything. They're trying to, and he's like, no, it's Minnie. And he's like dead set on this. And he's like, someone needs to connect. And no one says anything. So out of pure panic, I think Jack cuts to a message from the sponsors. They go to commercial. And Jack is just in awe. And he has no idea what he's in for. They go backstage, they get something to drink, they start touching up on the makeup, they get ready to bring out the next guest, and Christo is on fucking edge. Like, they go to put makeup on him, and he's swatting people away, telling them to fuck off. And we're back now after the commercial break, and they bring out a very skeptical guy. His name is Carmichael Haig, and he puts on a very fun cigar trick for the audience. And he also begins showing his wherewithal and trying to expose Christo as a fraud, to the point where he shows him $100,000 check, and that if he can prove him wrong, that the check is his. They start arguing back and forth until Jack reveals that the message Christo was trying to like blurt out might have been for him. He reveals that Minnie was the private nickname between him and Madeline that he never told anyone about. He also says the wedding ring that he was seeing in his visions to the unmarried man, and he holds up his hand. He goes, I think you're talking about my wedding ring, because in your vows you say till death do us part. So he is no longer married, with his wife having passed away. And you can see the tears welling up in Jack's eyes, and Carmichael calls it all hogwash. And then Christo begins to convulse, and he starts going into like this Carmichael calls it like an acting thing, and he just like seizes up onto the floor, and then Christo just starts convulsing and going into like almost like a seizure-like state, and then he pukes black sludge all over his back and the camera. And it's just in time for a quick break.
Let's go.
How's it going, Justin? I do have to ask for the break time. Do you have to use the bathroom at this time?
I think I'm good. Thank you very much for asking.
Oh, not a problem.
You know, now that you said that, though, he's going to get up and go to the bathroom.
I know. Was you going to say that? I think I'm good.
You good? Okay.
Justin, just real quick, how uncomfortable did this movie make you in the beginning when they were showing his meteoric rise to fame? And he sits down with the lady, and she opens the shoebox, and she goes, "This is an African bird-eating spider." And she's like, "Oh shit, where'd it go?"
Yeah, where'd it go? That was. Oh my god. Nope.
Cancel
I would have been
show.
caught. If I was in that audience, I would have just ran for my life and never.
And all those people did was pick up their feet.
Yeah.
He would have burnt the studio down.
Yeah.
I would have ran. I would have turned into Forrest Gump. One day I just started.
I was running. All right, Waterboy, take us away.
All right. Carmichael, thinking it was just spouting or controlled regurgitation, and we hear the sounds of an ambulance, with Jack knowing something isn't right. Let's talk the new book, Conversations with the Devil, by June Ross Mitchell. We get a clip of the satanic cult First Church of the Abraxas with their leader, Xandor Diabo. And having
it's
been
a
rated...
fucking mouthful.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this is where I stopped.
Dude, you have no idea. I had to say that name like 4 times. Having been raided by police and kids learning that kids were being bred strictly for a sacrifice. Within a raid, a girl is saved from the fire Sean was mentioning earlier, broken out with the cult's home, and Lily, where June works with her and tries to figure out something that is inside of her and help her control it. Welcome June Ross and Lily, with Lily immediately being the most Children of the Corn shit I've ever seen, staring directly into the camera.
Her eyes, the way she talks, she seemed very robotic, like something was controlling her.
Yeah.
Beautiful acting.
Yeah.
I would have been off.
Hi, Mr. Jack. Oh, what should we do next? Yes, I'm very excited to be here. What are
she thinks you're very handsome.
Yeah. Well, no.
That dude was like, please don't talk to the camera. Talk to me.
Dude,
I would have been like, interview over. I'm good.
That camera staring is just so freaking creepy.
Terrifying.
And answering Jack's questions with Lily blurting out June finds him attractive and mentioning she knew of his wife dying of cancer. You shouldn't worry about your TV show. You're going to be very famous soon.
Did you hear the change in her voice? She went from sounding like a little girl to sounding like his wife.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like very quick.
Very
and like
awkward.
you could see it in his eyes. Like he turned his head and was like, what the okay.
And that's like in this part right here with when they go into break and time to make ourselves pretty again, and creepy Lily saying, "Don't I already look pretty, Jack?" And a completely different voice. And June pulling Jack behind the curtain, explaining Lily has been acting weird and mentioning his name and something's up. And we also learned that Christo had actually passed away on the way to the hospital. Back to the show, though, June and Carr bicker back and forth, with Carr calling June out about being a fraud in her school that she attended being hogwash. We learn that Lily has a demon that lurks within her, a deity or soldier of Abraxas. And we learn from Lily that the demon inside her, she calls Mr. Wiggles. He wiggles his way into her head and then wiggles his way out. What a name for a demon, Mr. Wiggles. All right. And June
Didn't we just do a movie with Mr. Wiggles?
I don't
know.
I don't think.
No, what was his name?
I thought Wiggles.
Mr. Giggles.
June has been helping
Little Monsters, Justin.
Yeah. We're okay. Has been helping.
Zero interest.
Control him. He's like,
engage, Justin, engage.
What's up? Yep, Wriggles. I got it. Wiggle.
All right.
Wait, then, what? Use glitch?
No. Then shit starts bursting and sounding, going nuts until Carr pulls the cord, showing the audience that it was just an interference with the audio and just a cheap parlor trick. Lily says it's Mr. Wiggles, and Jack wants to see
that guy is real fucking fun at parties.
Oh, amazing.
Right? What a dick.
God. And Jack wants to see if June can summon Mr. Wiggles, and against her best judgment, says fine, as long as everybody is in complete cooperation. Break time, and even Gus is getting scared, along with others as well, and wishes Jack not to have them go through with the summoning, and finding out he also knows that Christo had died. Mr. Wiggles time. June starts the process to bring him out, putting Lily into a sleep trance so the demon may take over. Bone-crunching exorcist shit takes over, with even Lily's face having changed and a demon voice taking over, wondering where it is until June mentions its purpose and Mr. Wiggles mentioning he's here. Jack saying that they go way back, having met amongst the tall trees, and saying now that Jack's wife is dead and he can screw whoever he wants. Now, like June thinking Jack is very handsome. Jack and June went up the hill to fuck each other's brains out.
Dude, I love that part.
That was pretty awesome.
And then she just slaps her. Real quick. This like set of scenes when she does this transition from June to Mr. Wiggles, they could have lost me with this movie. If this was overly done, like too much makeup, or they use CGI or anything that wasn't practical and like just very subtle on her face, would have lost me. But this was beautifully executed, and it was very minimal, and it was almost like watching, again, like a zombie movie. Once you get bit and you do that very slow progression into a zombie.
It was
this
just
very,
enough.
very well done.
And June then even slapping her, and Lily just laughing hysterically before staring at Jack. How could you let it happen? And then electrical streams across the ceiling, with Lily's chair floating before landing back on the stage and her face changing back to normal, with Jack looking completely confused and scared, and Carr still jumping up to say how it was a trick. Now to cut to break and to Justin to help us finish off this show.
All right, so now at this point, we got the crew is freaking the hell out. We got Jack. This guy, like Jack's kind of excited. He wants them on weekly. June is pissed because she's like, this is not going good at all. This is getting like, what was she talking about the tall trees, Jack? What? We had like explain yourself.
And he's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, don't worry about it. He's all cool and everything. And
how tall were those trees?
Right, exactly.
California redwoods are pretty fucking big.
Boom, you got it right there. And at this point, like, dude, poor Gus. Gus is absolutely losing his shit. He's like, this is just straight up like sorcery right now. And we see Gus
begging to leave the show.
Yeah, he wants gone. We see him. He walks past Carmichael and he's like, he says that Christo has died. And Carmichael's basically like, you mean like bombed? And he's like, no, he literally is died. He died in the ambulance. We have 3 crew members completely left. But the producer dude is so excited. He is absolutely pumped. He's like, the ratings are going through the roof. We are scoring so high right now. He's like, we got to get back out there and do this. But we see Jack is...
This producer guy, Justin,
yeah,
I know you fucking hate Rob Zombie's Halloween, but did he not remind you of Dr. Loomis?
Dude, I was like, he did remind me of someone so bad, and I couldn't put my finger on it.
I had to, the first time I saw him at the beginning of this movie, I had to pause it and see if it was Malcolm McDowell.
He was reminding me of someone. I couldn't think of who he reminded me of. And it's like, we got to kill this. We got to go up there. And you see, Jack is a little freaked at this point, too, because how Sean talked about it, or maybe someone talked about it earlier, how Lily's voice kind of changed into like Minnie for like a second. And he's like, Jack, I don't need you being spooked with me right now. Like, let's go get it together. Like, camera's back. Like, let's go. It's game time, baby. Jack gets back on. He does a quick apology to everyone saying, hey, sorry for showing, the demonic possession if that freaks you out a little bit. But Carmichael's like, no, this is all hypnosis and incredible stagecraft. But you know what? I'm going to prove my thesis and debunk this whole entire thing. Jack says, you know what, man? You got 5 minutes. Go ahead. Have a volunteer. Prove us wrong, bitch. He didn't say bitch.
Dude, this is where that conversation was going because even June goes like, she fucking levitated. You saw it.
Right?
Like, what are you going to debunk?
Right, and he says it's his great stagecraft and everything, but so basically, you know what? He's gonna prove it wrong. So he grabs Gus to have his work on, and he puts him in a chair. They're staring at each other, lined up in a chair, and he has him stare at his watch. It's doing the crazy little spinning thing. He is a great hypnotizer, so he goes through his whole entire thing. He hypnotizes Gus, does the whole entire thing, makes sure that he's actually hypnotized. Talks to him about how how he's scared of worms, and he basically says, you do have one like on you right now, and. So I did not expect the scene. So freaky. Like Gus starts like pulling. It actually shows him like pull a worm out of his neck. So disgusting. At this point, I'm like, what is even happening? And then he's like, you have more. They're all crawling inside you and they need to get out. He stands up and he starts pulling at his stomach. He rips his stomach apart. And all the worms, like a gory pile of disgusting worms, just pour out of his stomach.
The practical effects in this movie are so fucking good.
Yeah, like this scene came out of nowhere, and then at the very end,
big ass worm
pouring out. He has a giant worm shoot out of his eye, and clearly he's dead. But then all of a sudden he just snaps, and all of a sudden they're back. And I mean, at this point, the audience is gasping, freaking out. Jack is standing up, absolutely panicking, and then they're all looking around like none of this happened. Like Gus is okay and everything. So it is panicking. He's basically like, you know what? We are going to play back the tape because they don't understand like how they just saw that and it wasn't real. And they're watching the tape. Nothing was real. Oh, and he basically asked the audience like who saw it, who didn't see it.
I think he counts like 3 people that didn't see it.
Almost he hypnotized almost the whole entire room. There's only a very few people who didn't work. And June's like, you know what? I didn't do this. Like, there's no way I did that. And Lily's idea was like, you know what? How about you play back the tape of our part of the show? And so they do. They play it back, and it is just as creepy. And they actually even see a quick, weird flash. Jack picks it up. He's like, yo, put that in slow motion. Go reel by reel, reel by reel, reel by reel. And so creepy. We see Minnie, his wife, and a flash. They pause it, and she was right behind him in like a ghostly figure.
She had her hand on his shoulder,
like touching him. So freaky. And
dude, like Carmichael is such a dick.
I did not like him. And
he just tries to debunk everything.
At this point, yeah, Carmichael's freaking out, like, oh my god, this whole thing's set up. And at this point, like, hold on, because this movie just goes insane. As that's happening, Lily is like crying and like putting her hand down, and she's acting wicked odd. You hear like almost some like static, like glitches. And he's all of a sudden like, can I get help? Can I get help? Can you everyone help? Like, help right fucking now. And out of nowhere, Lily starts levitating again, and she is full of electricity. Her arms are going opposite ways with electricity shooting out of her with like electricity bolts.
Is it coming out of her, or is she taking everything in?
I don't know.
I can't tell.
I couldn't tell if she was like a conduit for this thing. What in the world was happening? But she is levitating. Just electricity is going everywhere. And at this point, like her face splits open, like her head splits in half.
Yeah, it's almost like her when she says Mr. Wiggles into her brain. Yeah. It's like when he wiggled into her brain, he had to open up her entire fucking cranium to make himself exposed to pull this shit off.
Sparks everywhere, and it is absolutely
it's like the deadlights from It.
Yeah, I was not expecting any of this right now because at this point you see Gus like basically pulling the Exorcist, saying the power of Christ compels you, and he gets his neck snapped. Like,
did you get that foreshadowing?
That was just not snapped. That was completely.
When he sits down with Carmichael and he's like joking around, he's like, "Now I like my head where it is. You're not gonna like screw it off on me, are you?"
Yeah, make my head spin or something.
And that's how he dies. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, his head. Yeah, as Waterboy said, it wasn't just a little bit. His head gets completely turned around and snapped, and it is absolutely panic now. People are flying. There is just like papers flying around. Everyone is screaming. June gets. Next up is June. She has the necklace on and everything. Also, you see she's being strangled by it, and it straight up slices her throat. So she's like in the air, and she gets her neck absolutely cut. At this point, Carmichael is just on his hands and knees right now, and just being like, "Oh my dear
he's
God!"
begging her to take the check, bro. Take the check.
Now he's holding up the check. Now this asshole's holding up the check.
He's a believer now, I guess. Yeah.
He gets melted. She's straight up like he is on fire, and
she doesn't
really gets
put him on fire. She melts his ass. It's like she turns him into molten.
Dude, it was like that Indiana Jones scene.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah. He literally gets melted. At this point, everyone is running around. Jack, we see get pulled backstage. The TV goes out of the broadcast. You see it says station difficulties. You even see like a demonic face in there, and so now it's like the whole movie screen is it's just dark. You're like, what?
I thought this was where they were going to end the movie.
Yeah,
I didn't know the end. I was like, holy shit.
I was like, what just happened? And then just when you think it's not going to get weirder, it gets even weirder. It cuts back, and we see Gus like cutting an intro. Jack walks back in, like, and you tell he's like wicked confused. And basically all like almost like the clips from the beginning,
in reverse order.
Yeah. We see them all again. But something's a little different in all the bits. You can see it's a little different. Like the girl has like you see like there's like a giant worm instead of like a spider. It's very unsettling scenes you see. And it shows him interviewing his wife, and you see how uneasy Jack is again. And then also we cut to people rewarding Jack. And it looks like the ratings are great and everything. And they're saying basically the greatest sacrifice is yet to come. You get another cut scene. All of a sudden, he's being walked out by the cult people. All the cult people are there, and you see him kneeling in front of a giant
they make him drink from the chalice.
Yeah, and they're like, "Here, drink." And now he's drinking from a chalice in front of the giant owl head cult people. I literally wrote, "What the fuck is even happening?" Then he enters a room where he sees his wife dying. She's on the bed, really, really sick. She is not doing good. He talks to her for a little bit.
Dude, she basically tells him, like, I know that you went to those tall trees and you made a deal with the devil to become famous. And he needed a sacrifice, and you thought you gave him one, but no, it's me. And she like points to the dagger from that cult, and she's like, you know what you need to do. I'm ready. Like, do it.
She basically says, like, you know what, you have to do this one last thing for me. I'm in pain. Do this one last thing for me. She keeps saying, like, do it. We see Jack has the dagger, and he stabs his wife in the stomach. But then all of a sudden he comes to, and it's friggin' Lily. Lily is the one that he stabbed. And he's back on the talk show. He's back on the stage from earlier with all the dead people all around him. And all of a sudden it's slowly panning out, and we hear the sirens in the background.
He is chanting. And if you remember when Carmichael did like the hypnosis thing, he says something. He's like, dream state like awake, and he snaps his fingers. And that's all he's doing, trying to like.
He's saying it over and over again, trying to snap himself out. What is going on? Hear the sirens in the distance. The fucking end. Movie honestly, over. Let's go.
I'm gonna say, like, with that last 10 minutes of it going back in between scenes, and like, I thought that he was still just like regular hypnotizing. This was all like a charade.
Like he was gonna snap out of it, and
what-
everyone was
yeah.
just gonna be sitting there and being like, "You okay?"
Or what's
I
going
had
on? Yeah.
no clue what the hell was
nope.
wrong with this. Yeah.
Holy
Jesus.
shit!
That was crazy.
Insane pacing there.
That's all I got to say is holy shit.
Oh,
All right, one of you guys want to do your ratings first? Closing thoughts, or you want me to go?
Y'all go ahead. I'll go ahead and pop them off.
All right, pop them off.
So going into this, like I said, I wasn't too sure what to expect. I don't like demonic possessions, but this was a little bit different. I mean, it brought a new little factor in it. They did it perfectly. They didn't go crazy with it. I love the cinematography with this, how they made it look so old school, like we were just watching a show from the 70s. I think that was amazing how they did that. It sort of reminded me of that. If you guys have seen that movie Nope, where the beginning scene with the monkey and stuff.
I haven't seen it yet.
Go watch it, or we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that movie.
I refuse to watch anything new unless it's for the podcast.
But it definitely reminded me of that, and I am going to raise up my rating, and I'm going to go up to a 7.8 out of 10. And it was a pretty damn good movie. The pacing was a little bit weird. Like I did love the last 10 minutes, like going freaking absolutely crazy. Yeah, it was a pretty damn good movie. Definitely worth a watch for anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
Justin, you want to go? You want me to take over?
What do you want? How are you feeling?
Me? I'm feeling like I want to talk about this fucking movie.
All right, how about you talk then?
All right, dude. This movie, like I said, going into it, I gave it an expectation rating of a 7. I sat down again last night and I watched this with the missus. And like Waterboy said, it's got a funky pacing. But this pacing made me feel like I was watching an actual late night TV show. So that pacing point is fucking 100% on point for me. The acting in this movie, I think is great. The way they work in real life things, like I said, David Berkowitz, Manson family, all that stuff, the way they show real headlines in the newspapers to begin this movie with, sucks you in and it doesn't let you go. And each act in this movie has its own commercial break, which I think is fantastic because you hit this point in the movie where you're like, all right, I'm ready for something else to happen. And this movie sets it up so well because they're like, all right, now it's a word from our sponsors. And you go from watching this 70s boob tube TV with little glitches and like the film going up and down and giving you that special effect, if you will, to feeling like you're right there, because then it's like it almost jumps from that 70s style 9mm fucking photo shoot to 4K Ultra HD fucking curved TV. So you see everything in high def. And the way it transitions from act to act to act is amazing. I can't say enough good shit about this movie. The child actor in this movie did a phenomenal job switching from Lily to Mr. Wiggles. Like I said, the practical effects, unreal. The stage setting, the lighting, the costume design on everyone, how it screamed 1976, right? 7? 1977. And this is Sweeps Week. It's Halloween. Everything is just mint. You look at the audience. I don't know what the fuck was up with that dude in that skeleton costume, but I was waiting for something to happen with him. I felt like he was an antagonist. I don't know if he was just there as a shout out to the Halloween franchise, because then later on you see a witch in there and there's pumpkins everywhere. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this movie other than to go watch it. My rating went from a 7 to a 9.5. And I hate demonic movies. I hate possession movies, but this movie just did something where it roped me in and I fucking fell in love with it. And I agree with everything I've seen review wise, comment wise, everything. That 97% on Rotten Tomatoes is probably one of the most accurate ratings I've seen on a newer movie to date.
Damn, son.
Damn, let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So I'd like to say that 97% rating is definitely, I feel like it's definitely not accurate of any of the movies I've seen. So I think this movie was extremely creative and I love the feel of it. I love the talk show feel. Absolutely loved it. The end got a little funky for me, and I kind of think that got a little sloppy in the third act, and it just did not land as well for me. But my rating is a 7.5 because I think everyone should watch this. The creativity, I absolutely loved. The acting, I thought David Dastamalachian, probably said that wrong. He was awesome as Jack, and the girl who played Lily, holy crap, so creepy. Absolutely loved that. I was hooked for most of this movie, like probably like the first like hour and like 9.5 minutes. I was like dialed in and caught, but towards the end, I don't know, like the pacing when it went really, really crazy. Some of the weird stuff with the cult and everything, I wasn't feeling it. Like it just kind of felt like
It
was
did
like,
go
I
from
don't
that
know.
very like medium pace with the talk show that was, I think, the one of the best points in the movie to 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know if I was expecting more at the end. I kind of lost me at the very end. Like I said, I still think it's a 7.5. I love the creativity, but I thought the third act just didn't deliver as much. I was expecting more of a finale. And so it was good. I probably don't ever really want to watch it again, even though it is really creative. I just think that the third act, I think the movie was a little overhyped, which I think would probably hurt it. But overall, I do think it was a real fun movie. I mean, I gave it a 7.5, but I do think minorly overhyped, and third act kind of fell apart a little bit for me.
I'm still trying to wonder where those tall trees were.
Dude, and how insane was, dude, as soon as I heard that, I was like, holy shit, they're talking about Bohemian Grove. Like, you guys know about Bohemian Grove?
Yeah.
No.
Like, that's like that's a real thing. Like, what do they call in the movie? The Grove or something?
They just call it the Grove.
Yeah, so if you literally look up Bohemian Grove, it's been around the club, I think, for like 100 years. And it's an actual real club for like the super rich and famous. There's been presidents, like I think 2 or 3 presidents have been
No, I have
involved in
heard of
this.
that then, yeah.
And they go there.
It's like a legitimate thing that like no one's supposed to talk about.
No one's supposed to talk about.
Kind of everyone knows,
like an Illuminati-esque type.
Yes, and there's crazy rumors of like sacrifice, a bunch of weird. Just look it up. Like I have no clue what's true of it or not, but it's some really, really weird shit that's supposedly and giant owls, all that stuff with the owls. Like they worship like the owl god there. So all that stuff is based on it. What's up?
I know you don't watch TV series, but I'm gonna send you one episode of Black Mirror. There's an episode of Black Mirror where the super rich and elite and all this stuff, it kind of mimics the Grove. They go there as like a spa retreat.
Yeah.
And it gets fucking wild. That's all I'll tell you. But it goes along with something like the Grove. And I think you'd really enjoy it. And Black Mirror might be something where I might pull episodes from to cover on the podcast because it's not a continuous
each one's its own like
storyline. Every episode, it's like a Tales from the Crypt or something like that. Every episode is its own story. Like you won't even get the same actors in the next episode.
Right.
So they're like mini movies. But I definitely think, like I said, I'll send you the info on one, and I think you should watch it.
Definitely.
Also, it goes along the lines with how the elite are, lizards.
Yeah. No shit. Well, yeah, the Bohemian Grove stuff's kind of crazy. And also, do you think that movies that get so overhyped, do you feel like more and more movies lately are getting like really, really hyped? And do you think it like could hurt it a little?
Yeah, I feel like everything, and I think I fell victim to this a few times. Like when we went and seen Evil Dead Rise, that experience I thought was a 10. And then watching that movie again, it's not a 10. This one, the atmosphere, like it roped me in. There's something that happens in these 70s type movies that as long as they're not boring, I fall in love with them.
And like I said, I felt like I was watching a show. Like for whatever reason, the ending just didn't, like I said, like I still give this a 7.5 and I liked it. I think maybe if it wasn't just the ending, I don't know if I was expecting more or I'm not 100% sure which way I would have wanted it to go, but I just thought the ending just didn't pay off for me I kind of didn't like the last 15 minutes.
I'll agree with that. I did like the random like crazy shit that happened, but when it started to like him going back to other parts of the show and like him being in a trance sort of type state and then going next to his wife and stuff like that, I thought they kind of should have done that a little bit differently.
I didn't like that.
I thought that like rewind thing where like he was living life in reverse. You guys ever see the movie 1408?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It gave me those kind of vibes where like he starts reliving his memories in like reverse order and he has no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah.
It felt like that to me.
And it almost pisses me off because I was loving. I said I just was loving this so much because I love talk show. I felt like I think this is so creative. I'm only pissed off at me that I didn't like it more just because, like I said, that I didn't like that ending. I didn't like the last 15 minutes.
So you probably would have liked it if they kept it in the present with shit going on.
Yeah, probably. Like
so.
I kind of just lost it. Yeah, I didn't exactly. Yeah. I think maybe that's what if something crazy were happening in the present, like when it started flashing back, I didn't like it, which sucked because I love most of it.
So hear me out. If they move that, I love doing this with you. If they move that last,
here we go again,
somewhere into the middle of the movie to have him experience like holy shit, like hypnosis, like that whole fucking thing. Move that more to the middle, and then that set of scenes where they go to like the technical difficulties, and he goes behind the curtain and it closes.
Yeah.
If you move that section to the very end, would your rating have changed?
I think so, yeah. Because like I said earlier in the movie when they did little flashbacks, I was fine with it. But the ending, like something about like it was just going like so much chaos, and then it like calmed like the pit. It like went from 0 to like 100, but then like slowed down again real fast, and there's like some weird flashback shit, and it just like I don't know.
That scene honestly should have been like when he was getting Carr was putting the other guy in a trance. That should have been his trance. Like him going back to all those things, and then him
like
waking up
maybe
in the
work
audience,
everything in together,
into that, and then let the shit break loose with her floating and killing people.
And then
it was crazy. Like when she was killing stuff, I was loving. Like when she was like going to all electricity shit and turning into like Storm from the X-Men. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, that's a good fucking call, dude.
This almost reminded me of like a VHS style thing that they did in this movie. I don't know if you've seen all the VHS movies, but
yeah, sorry, I didn't know what you meant for. Yeah. Anyone got any fun facts you want to talk about?
I do not. Like I told you, I completely spaced out. I had plenty of time to do fucking fun facts, and I completely spaced out on fun facts.
I'll say so. Mine we almost kind of covered. I think one of you said it. Like it's really cool how they worked on a lot of real shit from it. And then one of it we just talked about. I wrote the Grove is literally based on the Bohemian Grove, where all the noted and famous people would attend. And even the cult leader, was it Anton Zander or whatever? He was literally based on the guy who founded the Church of Satan. Like his name's almost even the same. Carmichael, same thing with Carmichael. Carmichael was James Randi. He's based on that guy. I don't know if you ever heard. He was a famous musician, and he became a psychic debunker. And he same thing. He like the check thing's real too. He would always say
he offered I think $1 million. There's one of them
it was
exactly
$1 million. I forget what it was. But all these people, even Christo who died, I don't have that written down, but he was based on another person too, and his name was almost the same. So they like literally based all this cool shit off real people at that time. So that was basically all the fun facts that I have. I thought that was really, really cool. So very creative movie.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, Hack Stab Slash. That about wraps it up. Why don't you follow us on YouTube? Hit that like, share, and subscribe. We're also on Facebook, where we try to engage daily. Twitter is basically X now, or X is Twitter. I don't fucking know, dude. I fuck this up every time, but Justin slays it on there. We're starting to pop up on Instagram a whole lot more with explosions on Reels that translate to Facebook. I don't know why they don't talk to each other and all that shit.
Yeah, I want engagement on Instagram.
Yeah, but if you want to help us grow the show, it would be great if you could go on Apple Podcast or Spotify and just leave a rating and a review. It would help new people find the show. And let's have a spooky time. I'm Hacky. Woo. This dude over here, that's Stabby. This guy down here is still trying to fix his light on the ceiling.
Just Justin.
All right, we out. Later.
Peace.